Can't say there's much that I really want to talk about right now. Uh, got equal money system. I don't know why I don't have that much to talk about. Uh, I'm not sure. I mean, I keep myself busy throughout the day, uh, evenings, and whereas I used to have tons and tons and tons to say, uh, I don't seem to have as much to say right now. I think it has to do with a lot realizing that what I say isn't really saying it for my sake. I'm really talking to people. And I used to do that a lot, and so I've been cutting that out and spending much more time looking at myself, trying to understand me. And within that, understanding me better, I realized that, what have I realized? Well, I realized that I guess I'm making some progress, and I'm looking at the progress I'm making, and I know there's a long ways to go in untangling the web, the web of deceit, I guess we can call it, the web of dishonesty, the web that I've created as me. But I don't focus on that whole thing and see a mountain in front of me. I focus on what I'm doing, and I take it step by step and look at the progress I'm making, and uncover things as they come. There's this sneaky suspicion in me that deep down inside there's this huge ball of stuff just waiting to come out. Uh, I suspect. I'm not exactly sure where it's coming from, but I suspect it will come out in due time. I'm in no hurry. Move along, and move along. Just continue moving. So, what am I supposed to say? Uh, I'm just enjoying myself for the most part. Like I said in an earlier video a long time ago, I can't recall really enjoying myself through most of my life. I had a lot of adventures and experiences, tremendous amount of adventures and experiences, but as for actually enjoying myself, that really wasn't there, because there was always fear, there was always caution, there was always, being prepared. There was never any trust within, maybe not even within myself, certainly not within others. So I had a lot of adventures and a lot of experiences in life, and learned how to manipulate quite well, learned how to manipulate the system quite well. I find it pretty easy to do these days. So what I'm doing now is just floating along in the system, basically, and enjoying myself, finding out who I am, and within that, not hoping, I don't hope anymore, within that, maintaining a course to change me, to continue changing me, and hopefully change this world. So with that, I want to talk about an equal money system. I don't talk about the equal money system that much because I don't understand it completely, but I see the basics of it, and it's still a work in process, but it is a solution to this fiasco called capitalism, this fiasco called inequality. There's no equality within capitalism. It's all based on who has the strongest greed gene. I think I can coin that greed gene. I call it. You got the greed gene. You're the winner in You're the winner in capitalism. You're the fiasco called capitalism, and you get to dictate to all the slaves underneath you. So it's all about who happens to be born with that genetic code or placement, the greed gene, I call it. So, looking at the world right now, I started reading the news again, which I haven't done in a long, long time. I kind of stopped and I started looking at world events, looking at things from a perspective, what's going on with the United Nations, World Bank, NATO, United States, CIA, stuff like that. And putting together, looking at the picture in terms of a puzzle, which requires you put a piece here, put a piece there. And doesn't take a genius to see where the road is leading with regard to the entire world system, the money system. It is imploding. It's collapsing. People don't see that. It's because they're not even seeing what's in front of them. They're not looking at the big picture. So without going into detail of why it's collapsing, just let's say it's collapsing. Food shortages, impending food shortages that have already arrived. India just put export controls on on a lot of its commodities, grains and stuff like that. Russia's already done it. It's just a question of time before some of the smaller countries, such as, who knows, with regards to not so much rice, because rice is grown in wet areas, but China, who knows, are they exporting any wheat? I kind of doubt it. So all this talk about maintaining the free flow of commodities so that you don't allow organizations to start profiting off the commodities, which they're already doing, profiting from the shortages, which is one of the reasons for the shortages. Corporations have been, investing, speculating in commodities and driving the prices up, which cause these same corporations, other corporations to hoard these commodities, which drives the prices up further. So impending food shortages, they're no longer impending. They're here. And again, whether or not they're real or not, whether or not there's enough food in the world to support all the beings, which I'm certain there is, it doesn't matter to those on the ground starving. It's happening. And this, let's say what's going on in the Middle East, in Libya, Egypt, Tunisia, those places, is only going to, where it is exacerbate, make greater the problem with regards to food shortages, because it's already driving up oil, which, let's say, obviously is going to keep going up. Everything that we do, so many things are comprised of oil. Tires, 7 gallons of oil. Fertilizer, oil. Getting the food to the market, oil. So with the rise in oil prices, it's going to cause more of a rise in food prices. And then, guess what's going to happen? People think the dollar hasn't been going down. The dollar's already lost 50% in 2 years. You're just looking at it as opposed to certain other currencies. You need to be looking at it as gold, silver. And you'll see the dollar has lost its value. But what's going to happen is countries such as, let's say, China, other smaller places like Taiwan, and countries which depend heavily on imports of food, are going to look at the rising prices of food and unrest because of that in their local populations. And they're going to say, okay, how do we combat those rising food prices? Well, we raise the value of our currency. It's not really raising the value of the currency. It's not buying US dollars anymore to keep the value of their currency artificially low, pegged to the dollar. So they will start letting their currencies rise, hence actually letting the dollar fall, which will enable them to maintain inflation for a certain amount of time. But it's gonna be like a snowball. As soon as one or two countries do it, and it's already starting to happen, other countries will do it. Kind of like, well, they did it, we got to do it. We got to do it, and then it's just the ball drops and bang, the U.S. dollar finally finds its proper place in the fireplace. So still, you know, it's like the stock market. It's like the stock markets around the world, these rigged systems. It's easy enough to see which direction they're going. For example, you know, the overall long-term direction that they're heading. But timing it, wow, that's a different story. So, you know, I've taken into account that when oil prices go up, food prices go up. When food prices go up, the countries who have been maintaining their peg to the US dollar, artificially keeping the US dollar valued, will change that policy and start letting their currencies rise against the US dollars, vice versa, letting the dollar drop. And so who's that going to hurt more? The United States. People in the United States are going to actually start to suffer more because inflation is going to go up. So it's really going to cause, I would say, a snowball effect around the world with regard to commodity prices, food prices, drops in the U.S. dollar. It's kind of it's unfortunate, you know, people in the United States are going to suffer a lot more. More people around the world are going to suffer. For the people in the United States, suffering, well, you know, it's those U.S. dollars that have been funding a lot of the suffering around the world. So, well, I guess, again, I said it before, if that's what it takes to change the world, if, you know, I have to go hungry, and a lot of other people have to go hungry to realize what billions of people go through, have been going through their entire lives, however long they live without food or with so little food, well, then so be it. I'm perfectly willing to do that. Obviously, that's what it's going to take for people to change, for people to start realizing that inequality, when you don't have, in the capitalist system, when you don't have an equal system, no one, very few, when they're profiting, benefiting off the being up there and it being not equal for them, obviously so many just don't want to change the system because they benefit from it. The only way we're going to change the system to one of equality is, unfortunately, bringing everyone down to the level of that of equality. Not necessarily very pleasant, I suspect, but I think that's what's going to happen. And so that brings us to equal money system. When that does happen, when people are starting to go hungry and really fed up with the policies, that capitalism that we've accepted and allowed through our acceptance of a system based on capitalism, which is just a system of greed, enslavement, then we can consider a system that actually works for all, equal money system. And for details about an equal money system, check out equalmoney.org or go to destiny, desteni.co.za for more on that. Again, people who don't want to hear it, just don't want to hear it, don't care. Pretty soon, not going to have a choice to hear it or not hear it, because it's just a question of looking at the direction that the train we call Earth is moving in. And we're all going to hear it. Okay, that's my preacher rant for today. Yeah, I don't have that much to say this weekend. I might still go tomorrow, we'll see. Do some camping with some friends. We'll see if I have time to. Okay, that's it.